Travis Hunter explodes after discovering his wife's affair with a Jacksonville Jaguars player. Travis Hunter has erupted in anger after learning that his wife allegedly cheated on him with one of his teammates from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're back in the packed courtroom, and this time, it's not the attorneys making the noise. It's the rustle of papers being passed to the judge. The headline number everyone's been talking about, the $20 million divorce settlement, suddenly feels secondary as Travis Hunter's ex-wife's legal team produces a slim, unmarked folder. They slide it across the bench, their eyes fixed on the jury, as if they know exactly what's inside is about to shift the entire case. The judge flips the first page, pauses, adjusts their glasses. The room grows so silent you can hear the faint hum of the overhead lights. Then, without looking up, the judge nods to the bailiff. The contents are admitted into evidence. From your seat, you can just make out the top sheet, a series of printed screenshots, direct messages, time-stamped, and if the captions are accurate, they're not just casual messages. They're conversations between Travis and someone directly tied to a competing NFL team. Her attorney speaks first, his voice even but sharp. This isn't about football. This is about deception, manipulation, and the concealment of assets that rightfully belonged in this marriage. He goes on to allege that the messages reveal not only an intimate relationship, but discussions about moving money into an undisclosed account overseas, a claim that instantly changes the energy in the room. Travis's lawyers shoot up from their chairs, objecting on the grounds of privacy and relevance, but the damage is already done. The jury has seen the screenshots. The reporters in the back have started scribbling furiously, their pens scratching like static. You notice one juror lean back, lips pressed tight, eyes locked on Travis. The moment feels like a pivot point, and now the question hanging in the air is clear. If this evidence is authentic, what else has been hidden from the court? And how much worse can this get for a man who thought the biggest blow had already landed? The air in the courtroom feels heavier now, like everyone is holding their breath, waiting for the next strike. The ex-wife's legal team wastes no time. They call to the stand a forensic accountant, calm, methodical, and holding a thick binder of spreadsheets. She adjusts the microphone, opens the binder, and begins mapping out a money trail that no one in the gallery expected to hear. According to her testimony, over the past 18 months, a series of irregular transfers were made from Travis Hunter's primary accounts into what she calls layered entities. These were shell companies registered under names that didn't initially connect to Travis on paper, but the accountant explains how each company leads back, through a web of corporate filings, to a single holding trust, one that Travis never disclosed during divorce proceedings. And then comes the part that makes even the judge glance over at Travis. These same entities appear in the leaked messages introduced earlier. One of the exchanges allegedly shows Travis telling the other party, "It's locked up where no one can touch it, not even her." The room murmurs at the implication that the money in question wasn't just hidden, but hidden intentionally to keep it out of the settlement. His attorney tries to discredit the accountant, calling her findings speculative at best, but she remains composed. "This is not speculation," she says, pointing to one transfer highlighted in red. This $2.4 million wire was processed exactly 3 days after Mr. Hunter was served with divorce papers. You glance at Travis, but he doesn't look back. His eyes are fixed on the table, jaw clenched tight. The jurors scribble notes faster than before, some shaking their heads. And now the unspoken question is hanging over everyone. Was this just a messy divorce? Or is Travis about to face a legal storm far beyond family court? The next witness takes the stand, and the tension ratchets up another notch. This time, it's not a financial expert. It's one of Travis Hunter's former teammates. He walks in wearing a tailored suit, eyes darting briefly toward Travis before locking forward. The bailiff swears him in, and for a moment, the only sound in the room is the faint scratching of reporters' pens. The ex-wife's attorney wastes no time cutting to the chase. Did Mr. Hunter ever discuss hiding assets from his spouse? The witness hesitates, glancing down at his hands. When he finally speaks, his voice is low but clear. "Yes, more than once." The gallery stirs, and the attorney presses further. "Can you tell the court what he said?" The witness swallows hard. "He told me he was moving money overseas, said it was better to keep it where she'll never find it. He laughed when he said it, thought it was smart." That's when the attorney projects a series of text messages onto the courtroom screen. The jurors lean in as the timestamps appear. Messages sent late at night, just weeks before the divorce filing. One of them reads, "Trust me, bro. Cayman accounts are bulletproof." Another, "She's not seeing a dime of this." Travis's attorney jumps up, objecting to the interpretation of the messages, claiming they were taken out of context and meant as locker room banter. but the tone in the room has shifted. This isn't playful anymore. The teammate's testimony doesn't end there. He says Travis confided that the divorce wasn't going to be fair and that he had no problem making it a war. For the jurors, those words linger long after he steps down. And now, with the witness gone, the focus swings back to the defense table, where Travis Hunter sits rigid, staring straight ahead, as if daring anyone to meet his eyes. You watch as the courtroom projector flickers to life again, this time displaying a document no one expected to see so soon. A bank transfer slip from a well-known financial institution in the Bahamas. The date? Exactly 1 week before the divorce papers were served. The amount? Just over $3.2 million. The recipient? A trust registered under a name no one in the room recognizes, but prosecutors claim is tied to one of Travis Hunter's longtime business associates. The ex-wife's attorney paces slowly before the jury, letting the weight of the numbers hang in the air. This was money that should have been disclosed during the divorce discovery process, she says, her voice low but cutting. Instead, it was hidden, intentionally. She turns toward Travis, locking eyes for just a moment before sliding the paper into the evidence stack. Travis's legal team scrambles. His lead attorney insists the transfer was related to pending business investments and had nothing to do with avoiding financial obligations. But the opposing side isn't letting up. They remind the court that the transaction aligns perfectly with the teammate's earlier testimony, painting a pattern of deliberate concealment. From the gallery, a ripple of murmurs runs through the crowd. Reporters type frantically, some already crafting headlines about offshore transfers and secret accounts. The judge raps his gavel once, sharp, deliberate, bringing the room back to order. Then a more personal blow lands. The attorney produces a short email exchange between Travis and his accountant. In one line, the accountant warns, "Moving this much will raise red flags." Travis's reply, "Only if they find it." The jurors shift in their seats. Some exchange glances. That single line, just 6 words, now feels like the loudest statement of the trial so far. And as the projector clicks off, the tension doesn't fade, it tightens. Because if the paper trail is this clear, people are starting to wonder what else might still be buried, waiting to surface. You can feel the courtroom shift as the next piece of evidence comes out. A string of text messages, allegedly between Travis Hunter and his financial advisor, recovered from an encrypted messaging app. The dates are telling, they fall just 2 days before the divorce proceedings officially began, and they're littered with shorthand, dollar amounts, and phrases that the prosecution claims point directly to intentional asset shielding. One text stands out immediately. Travis writes, "Lock it down before she can touch it." Moments later, the advisor replies, "Understood. We'll split into multiple accounts to avoid flags." These aren't vague or ambiguous words. They read like a playbook for dodging court-ordered financial disclosures. The jurors lean in, some furrowing their brows as the attorney reads each message slowly, letting the weight of the words sink in. The defense tries to push back, suggesting that locking it down was about securing funds from a volatile investment rather than hiding them from his ex-wife. But it's an uphill battle. The prosecution counters with bank statements showing that the accounts the money was moved into were all in names that had no legal tie to Travis, making them nearly invisible to the divorce discovery process. Outside the courthouse, the reaction is just as explosive. Social media lights up with screenshots of the messages and hashtags calling Travis out trend within hours. Fans who once defended him now flood comment sections with accusations, while others speculate that the financial scandal could snowball into tax investigations or even criminal charges. And inside that tense courtroom, the question isn't just whether Travis will lose more money, it's whether this case will morph from a divorce battle into a full-blown legal nightmare that could follow him for years. Because if these messages are as incriminating as they look, this isn't just about a broken marriage anymore. It's about intent. And that could change everything. You watch as the prosecution shifts gears, wheeling in a large easel covered with a blown-up spreadsheet of Travis Hunter's recent financial activity. Every line is dated, every dollar accounted for, and the color-coded highlights make one thing clear. Millions of dollars moved in rapid succession, all within a narrow 48-hour window before the divorce filing hit the courts. The lead attorney taps the board with a pen, pointing to a $3.2 million transfer to a trust registered in the Cayman Islands. A trust, they argue, that has no documented beneficiaries other than an anonymous corporate entity. "Ladies and gentlemen," the attorney says, voice steady but sharp, "this isn't financial planning. This is a deliberate attempt to erase assets from the record." Across the room, Travis sits stiff in his chair, arms crossed, jaw set. His legal team whispers urgently, passing papers back and forth. But the damage is done. The visual timeline is powerful, and the jury's eyes keep darting between the board and Travis himself. The
prosecution isn't done. They reveal that the so-called Cayman Trust was established less than 6 months ago, right after Travis's ex-wife allegedly confronted him about his affair with a teammate. Combined with the newly uncovered text messages, the prosecution argues this shows not only motive, but calculated preparation to limit her payout. Outside court, reporters pounce on the story, framing it as the moment the divorce case crossed into criminal territory. Financial experts begin weighing in on national broadcasts, explaining that such moves could trigger international investigations, especially if the funds are tied to earnings from sponsorships or contracts. And while Travis's fans cling to the hope that this is all a misunderstanding, the courtroom energy says otherwise. Each revelation pulls him further from the role of betrayed husband and closer to the image of a man willing to outmaneuver not just his ex-wife, but the law itself. The only question now is whether the court will let him get away with it.
The room goes still as the final piece of evidence is introduced, a secretly recorded phone call between Travis Hunter and an unidentified associate. The audio crackles, but the words are unmistakable. It's done. She won't see a dime more than I give her. Just keep it off the books. The prosecution lets the silence hang before replaying the line, each word cutting deeper into the defense's case. Travis doesn't flinch, but the jury does. You can see the shift in their faces. Some glance at him like they've already made up their minds. His attorneys scramble to object, arguing the recording lacks proper context, but the judge waves them off, ruling it admissible. The damage is immediate and irreversible. The timeline projected onto the courtroom wall now looks damning. Financial transfers, hidden trusts, and this call, all tied neatly together. His ex-wife sits in the front row, arms folded, eyes locked on Travis. She doesn't smile, she doesn't gloat, she just watches as the case tilts in her favor. Outside, the media frenzy is already in motion. News outlets run breaking banners reading "Hunter caught on tape," and social media explodes with speculation over how deep the deception went. For many following this case, the affair was already enough to taint his public image. But this paints a portrait of a man willing to bend the truth, the law, and the system itself to get his way. And as the gavel comes down to adjourn for the day, the unspoken verdict seems to echo in the air. This isn't just a messy divorce, it's a calculated war, and Travis Hunter may have just lost the most important battle of his career.